rumors circling around Denver being interested in the running back known as Kenneth Walker, who was not tagged by the Seattle Seahawks. Very confusing, perplexing situation because Kenny Walker was the Super Bowl MVP, and this team decided not to franchise tag him. Now, they might be handshake deal. We don't need to tag you. You're staying. We're keeping you. Let's work on not putting that franchise tag money on the books while we work out the deal we both know we're going to do, right, Kenny Walker? And Kenny Walker says, yes, sir. And that's a handshake deal behind the scenes, but there's a lot of buzz about Denver. And Denver's been tied to, maybe they want to bring in Breece Hall. Maybe they want to bring in another running back. Denver is constantly being talked about as a place that wants to consume a big, heavy duty workload between the tackles type of running back. And that's concerning for Harvey for sure. And where there's smoke, there's fire. We keep hearing over and over, heavy-duty workhorse. The Denver Broncos looking for a running back. The Denver Broncos expected to make a heavy push for this, that, and the other. Breece Hall isn't tagged. They might make a push. If Kenneth Walker isn't tagged, the Broncos might make a push. The Broncos are an attractive place to play ball, too. So Kenny Walker might be saying, give me a different Super Bowl ring with a different NFL Super Bowl MVP opportunity, and we don't know what's going through his mind right now. We're going to talk about Kenny Walker. We're going to talk about Kyler Murray, who I have in the graphic wearing a Vikings and a Falcons uniform. He is being released by the Cardinals as we speak. He's packed his bags. They took his key card away. Kyler Murray's done in Arizona, but where is he going to play ball? Where might he get resurrected? And there is a chance he gets resurrected. Let's not pretend like the Cardinals aren't very easily capable of ruining players, which is why I'm kind of concerned about Jeremiah Love. Rumors, number 3 overall to the Arizona Cardinals. It concerns me a little bit to have that conversation. M.A. Shea gets ruined in Arizona. They just don't seem to have their head on straight. Year after year after year, this organization botches one thing after another. I can say that I'm in Arizona. And I worry a little bit about Love. But at the same time, if Love lands there, you guys know I'm going to love him. It doesn't matter where he goes. It's not like you're going to misuse the guy you take number 3 overall. You're making a huge statement. We're going to break all that down and more. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
According to reports, multiple reports right in front of your face right here. Seattle Seahawks, this is old news. Seahawks not expected to tag Super Bowl MVP. This is older news. Didn't tag him. And now he's poised to become an unrestricted free agent with the assumption that there's a possibility that the Seahawks and him are just ready to go on a contract, or they're working it out and they're going to be fine. But this is the report that keeps springing up, and not just about Walker, about other running backs. Kenneth Walker, according to The Athletic and many other sources, they believe, as many other sources believe, that the Broncos will closely examine the veteran running back market and be looking to potentially kick the tires on a Kenny Walker situation. Everything we keep hearing over and over and over is Denver is looking at an RB. And I'm not saying that Harvey goes down to nothing if they do make some sort of move, even if it was Rico or Pacheco or something like that, or they bring JK back to whatever. I'm not worried about JK. I'm not worried about Pacheco. I think Harvey would stay ahead of him, at least get 60% of the work. Harvey's such a monster in the PPR game, and he continued to be used as a weapon. But if they bring in a Walker, I mean, Harvey's not, I wouldn't say he's cooked. He's cooked at his current ADP. He's cooked at anybody that owns him at the value they paid. But we'd have to reassess the new entry point for Harvey and say to ourselves, well, is this a guy that could win you a league in the 10th round if someone's going to let Harvey drop to double-digit round territory if they do bring in a bigger name running back than Harvey? So that is going to be a kick to the nutsack to RJ Harvey if that ends up happening. But again, there's a lot of smoke here. If you want an example of where there's a lot of smoke and there's no fire, in the offseason last year, the Cincinnati Bengals were one of the top teams in the league to have top 30 visits with running backs, rookie running backs. The Bengals were poised, it looked like, to add another running back really early in the draft, like within the top 45 picks. That was devastating. Maybe they still look to that. We don't really know why they did that. And you can't say, oh, it's smoke, it's misdirection. You don't waste your very limited amount of picks to visit with players and go above and beyond all of their teams at a position that you don't plan on taking just to do some sort of trickery. That's not what happened. They really were exploring running backs. So that is something we need to understand, is like we see something and then there isn't anything to it. That is potentially possible for the Denver Broncos, but it is something to monitor. It's something to keep your Harvey, I guess, consumption at bay. Even on Underdog, promo code Smitty. We should draft tonight at midnight on Underdog, so hit that link in the description of the video. Code Smitty. Match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000 by using code Smitty. We'll be drafting, and we'll see where Harvey goes off of this news. He probably drops a little bit. But if Walker was to, in fact, go to Denver, I think Harvey would fall to double-digit rounds. Maybe 9, 10, 11. Who knows? Could be 9, could be 11, could be 10. But that would be a different entry point with a different perspective, and so we'd have to take it as it comes. But anybody that has Harvey, probably stop drafting him oversaturation-wise in an Underdog contest. Probably just say, okay, I got enough shares. Let's hold back and see how this goes. That's just smart business. Diversify your portfolio. Don't be going in on a situation where there's a lot of smoke. There might not be any fire. And if there isn't any fire, guess what? You made out on the drafts where you drafted Harvey. If you've got him in 2 or 3 Dynasty leagues, you might want to try and shop him in at least one. Keep one share maybe, but try and shop him. See what you can get. This news will certainly scare people, but something to think about, something to talk about. As for Kyler Murray, this man on the top right of my screen, ladies and gentlemen, Kyler Murray was released. Where's my Kyler graphic when I need it? Oh, it's right here on the side of the screen. Kyler Murray to be released by the Arizona Cardinals. And Kyler Murray's going to leave $57 million in dead cap on the Cardinals' front porch. And this is the Cardinals' fault. They should not have brought Kyler Murray in on a big new, brand new fat contract, or extended him on a big new fat contract. I did live stream after live stream saying that I didn't think it was a wise idea. I was an anti, let's sign Kyler to a long-term deal. Let's let him prove it longer. The Cardinals are just disastrous with this kind of stuff. $57 million in dead cap is awful. It's not LaFleur's fault, though. I will say Nathaniel Hackett being on this roster as the offensive coordinator is petrifying to me on one hand. On the other hand, LaFleur's calling plays. So if LaFleur's calling plays, Hackett isn't really going to be able to destroy everything. And I think if this Arizona Cardinal team, which is the kind of the topic of the moment, ends up drafting the man known as Jeremiah Love, one of the best running back prospects to come out of college in the last decade, the next Bijan Robinson, the next Bijan meets Jahmyr Gibbs, the next most athletic running back to enter the league. Once this man lands on a roster like Arizona, we'll assess it at the moment. But if I'm going to preemptively give you my concerns, my pros and my cons, the cons would be that this team is very, very bad at developing players. The pro would be that this is a new staff. The con would be that Hackett's involved. Hackett was the worst with Javonte Williams during Javonte's second year when he tore his ACL, and he's supposed to have this remarkable sophomore season, and Hackett couldn't use him. He just failed to give him half the work. He was barely getting half the work, if that's some games, and Hackett destroyed him. It was a Hackett job. And then Javonte tore his ACL. If you remember, Melvin Gordon was there. They kept trying their best to give all the work to one running back, only after Javonte tore his ACL. Hackett is such a Hackett job. But LaFleur's calling plays. If LaFleur's calling plays, there's only so much Hackett can do. He's kind of like a Bieniemy, an Eric Bieniemy. He's kind of a placeholder. He'll go get coffee. He'll screw that up, but he'll go get coffee. He'll do some things. Let's just hope he doesn't meddle too much with the running game to a degree, because you're calling plays, you're LaFleur. You have something to do with the running game if you're Hackett, but you're not going to really necessarily mess things up. And there's some things that Hackett probably could do well that we don't know about. Like Bieniemy does some things well. He's not a great offensive coordinator type of guy. He's not going to be a good head coach, but Bieniemy is a good motivator. There's probably some things that Hackett could do. Hopefully he doesn't get his meat hooks in this situation too much. But if Love does land in Arizona, I have faith that the talent's going to win out because the situation still is pretty relatively good. Because if Kyler's gone, which was a big concern, if Kyler stayed, I'd be upset because I don't know what the offense is going to look like. With Kyler gone and Brissett as the fallback plan, the only other option that really is being talked about at all that would be as good, maybe, and if not, then that's okay, because if you hold both quarterbacks, you won't really be in a pickle. You'll have options, and if one does bad, the other can step up and do good. But the situation that we're looking at is Brissett's your bridge quarterback if you end up going that route. But if they end up going and getting Malik Willis, which is the only other quarterback that's being talked about right now, going to the Arizona Cardinals to unseat Brissett, if no one unseats Brissett, and that would be the only quarterback that really comes to mind, then guess what? Yeah, I mean, looking for my Willis graphic, damn it. There it is. If Willis gets brought in, they're going to start him. If Brissett doesn't face competition like Willis, then he's going to start. So if the Cardinals end up bringing Willis in, they could trade Brissett to the Jets or a team that's showed interest according to reports. And then the Cardinals can better certain other spots of their roster and protect Willis and, maybe have an extra draft pick if they do trade Brissett. I don't know how much Brissett's going to get on the open market because he's an older player. But Willis and Brissett together would be a fantastic safety net for Love, for Michael Wilson, for MHJ, for McBride. So I think the Cardinals, despite having Hackett in the way, and if we hyper-focus on that one negative aspect, and I'm not trying to just figure out a way to be positive about it. I'm an Arizona Cardinal fan. I've lived in Arizona. If you know me well, then you know that I'm very critical of the Cardinals. I walk into the season saying they're going to be awful. So I'm not the glass is half full type of guy with the Arizona Cardinals. So if I speak to something, I'm speaking because I believe it. And I do believe that Brissett, if he's starting Wilson to the moon, MHJ, we'll see. I'm willing to dabble one share out of 20 drafts. That's it. We're talking about 10. We're talking about 5% share that I would dabble in the MHJ game. McBride, I think, with Brissett, obviously to the moon. If Willis is there and he doesn't work, they'll put Brissett in. If they don't trade Brissett. I don't think Brissett's going to have a good trade market. So Love's kind of protected. LaFleur calling plays. LaFleur probably will not allow Love to be misused, so Hackett can't do some weird running back by committee. They're taking Love at 3 overall. He's going to outplay everybody on the roster no matter what, because this is a generational talent. Imagine sticking Bijan on the roster. No one could screw it up. This is a pretty good offense. Willis and Brissett, or just Brissett, and Love does pretty good. I'm getting more and more sold that Arizona is going to be a really good spot for Jeremiah Love if he does in fact fall there. Now, as for Kyler Murray and Kyler Murray alone, if we're talking about this part of the conversation, if he goes to Minnesota, he could get resurrected. O'Connell's capable of doing that. Maybe he can't turn J9 into something that J9 was never really meant to be, in my opinion, because I felt that way coming out of college. I felt like he was a good system quarterback in college for that specific situation. But I don't think J9 is an NFL quarterback. I think Kyler Murray is capable of never rebounding. But I think if you put him in Shane Steichen's hands in Indy or in the hands of Dable, in a situation which isn't obviously going to happen because of his quarterback's already solidified. But this man, Kyler Murray, goes to, let's say, Minnesota Vikings situation. Maybe the Atlanta Falcons would be another place where he could potentially go and be similar to the way Willis and Brissett would be, a safety mechanism. Penix Jr. works out, great. If he doesn't work out, you have Kyler Murray. If you bring Kyler Murray in, you probably are insinuating that you're starting Kyler Murray and Penix Jr. is going to try and get healthy, and then maybe he takes your job back. But that's a doubling up at quarterback, Kyler and Penix. I can't think of a better thing for that situation in Atlanta, where I worry the hell about Stefanski making horrible quarterback decisions. So if he brings in Kyler and he's got Penix, I think either way you spin it, there's opportunity for one to save the other, or both of them to be good enough that really you're doing well either way. Now, Kyler Murray going to Minnesota, I believe if he's brought in, he's immediately the starter. And he's really a starter anywhere he goes. He's not going to go somewhere as a free agent, somewhere where he's not guaranteed to start, or getting money that at least assumes that there's no question at all. Kyler Murray can be revived in Minnesota. Remember that Minnesota made Kirk Cousins for an extended period of time look a lot better than Kirk Cousins really was. And you can't separate Kirk Cousins from situation. Situation and player are one and the same. So that's not to knock on Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was who he was, just like Priest Holmes was who he was in KC. Just like Sean Alexander was who he was in Seattle. Just like anybody is good in a situation where you don't really know how good they are. Puka Nacua is not in LAR catching footballs from Stafford. We would never have seen Puka Nacua emerge. Never. We would not know Puka's name right now if he didn't. We know him. We kind of like, oh yeah, that rookie that got taken, and then we forget about him. He wouldn't be the household name that he is if he didn't get drafted to the Rams. Kurt Warner never would have been if Vermeil didn't give him like a third chance to play in the NFL when he went undrafted, got cut from teams when he did get picked up. We wouldn't know. Tom Brady, if he didn't go to the Patriots, this song and dance over and over and over. There's a chance that players do well in certain places, and there's a chance that a guy like Kyler goes to a place where Kirk Cousins, again, not separating situation from player, plays better than he probably is. We see Darnold play better than he probably is. Darnold learns from it, earns a lot of skill set from it, goes and takes it and translates it over in Seattle, where Kubiak does the same thing. So Kyler Murray could be revived, especially from a fantasy perspective. We're like less than 2 years removed from everyone and their mother thinking he was going to have a top 5 to 6 quarterback season. So let's not pretend like Kyler didn't have, some upside. Now, can O'Connell fix him and bring the most upside out of him? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see where he goes. It's certainly going to be a topic of conversation. But anybody that says Kyler doesn't have a shot at being a good fantasy football quarterback, you're in your feelings. You need to step away from it and say, well, probably a long shot to a degree, but in the right spot, like throwing to Justin Jefferson in an O'Connell offense, maybe it is going to work. Brissett, as we talked about here, Jets and Falcons have shown interest in Cardinals QB Jacoby Brissett. This would be great for London if Brissett did go over and do the exact same thing I'm describing with Kyler and Penix, or the same thing I'm describing exactly between Wilson and also Brissett. If Brissett can go over and do that with Penix Jr., provide that safety net mechanism for all those Atlanta Falcon players, that would be fantastic too. So this makes me feel like the Cardinals are looking at Willis. And the Cardinals are a very attractive spot with Wilson, MHJ, and if they tell him, hey, we're drafting Jeremiah Love at 3, Brissett might, Willis might say, sign me up, and then we're trading Brissett away. Don't worry. So that could be intriguing. Let's hit this other news. Walker, Broncos closely examining. We just went over that. Jimmy Garoppolo, I even hate seeing this guy's mug on a breaking news piece, because what's he gonna do? What situation is he gonna ruin? Jimmy Garoppolo is on Miami Dolphins radar. That's fantastic for H-Han. Jeez. Alec Pierce, there's been positive movement in the last 24 hours in the negotiation with Alec Pierce, who was not tagged. So the odds of him potentially going elsewhere is in effect. Matthew Stafford, according to McVay, has good dialogue going on with the team and McVay and, the people making decisions financially, the accountants. Good talks going on. Stafford's not going to play on his current deal, so Stafford either gets a new contract, an extension off his 1 year left, or he doesn't play football. Just to let you know, he's not playing on his current deal. They made that clear last offseason. The Athletic is talking about more than 10 teams are interested in the Vikings wide receiver Jalen Nailor, who's a very big sleeper of mine. I like him a lot. I think Jalen Nailor has the potential to be one of those really, if I had to pick 2 wide receivers, one Nailor's very far down. The other one's a lot higher, but still a deep sleeper would be Jalen Coker. Jalen Coker and Jalen Nailor both have the potential to be really, really, really good wide receivers in 2026. Given the cost of entry, Coker being my favorite of the two. Daniel Jones, Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated believes that the Vikings are a team to watch in terms of Daniel Jones, who is allowed to talk to other teams because they put the transition tag on Daniel Jones. So Daniel Jones can be, wined and dined by other teams. Anthony Richardson is on the radar for the mother freaking Browns, right? Why not? You already got a big blender of quarterbacks. You got Deshaun Watson. You got Dylan Gabriel. You got Shador. Why don't we just bring in Anthony Richardson? Let's get it even. What are the Browns doing? Like, this is a good move if you're going to play him as a Taysom Hill. But are they even smart enough to do that? Do they even know that that's what we would do? Do they have a clue what they're doing? DJ Moore, this is another athletic report, so take this with a grain of salt. But the thinking is here, and I've heard this before by other beat writers, so it does like smoke where there's fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. It seems like the consensus is that DJ Moore will be back with the Bears in 2026, as he should be. Or if he goes somewhere else, he'll probably have a really good year. I'd take DJ Moore in Buffalo, in New England. Trey Hendrickson, Bengals edge Trey Hendrickson will not be franchise tagged. Was not franchise tagged. And two more pieces of news, then we straight open the phone lines. Juwan Jennings, Shaheed, and Wan'Dale Robinson all have a shot to make over $15 million per season. People are getting paid, baby. People are getting paid. And then Daniel Jones, here's that report. I should have shown this one first, but the Colts have placed a transition tag on Daniel Jones, meaning that other teams can offer him a deal. And, the first right of refusal will go in the direction of the Colts, though. So Daniel Jones, there's a shoddy place somewhere else. The Vikings, as I said, are on the radar. Coming back from an Achilles tear, that's pretty impressive to garner that much interest. That's how much a few teams are hurting at the quarterback position. Walker, is he a Bronco? Walker, is he a Commander? Walker, is he a KC Chief? Walker, is he a New Orleans Saint? Kyler Murray, is he a Falcon, a Jet, a Viking? What do you think? Why don't you call in and tell me?
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. And guys, don't forget, man, I can't tell you how excited I am about the Fantasy Football Show, which is just loaded with content. This is the site right here. Articles, player search. Let's look up Jahmyr Gibbs right now. Jahmyr Gibbs, you see it in the player search. Pull up his profile. This is his profile. Week 1 projections over here. Schedule will go right here once it's populated. 2025 advanced metrics. You can click on this more button and open up a new tab, which is all the advanced metrics for all the wide receivers. We can expand this down if we want by just clicking this expand button. These are sortable by quarterback, by running back, by wide receiver, by tight end. You can click on this to go back to player profiles and search each player individually, or you can sort by PPR scoring for 2025. Christian McCaffrey, number 1 running back, quarterback, etc., etc. Let me go back to the homepage of the site. You've got the freaking bold predictions, the rankings. The rankings are redline rankings. You just click these rankings right here and redline them at any point that you want to redline them. If you were, let's say, drafting, you can do Dynasty, Superflex Dynasty, Rookie, Super Rookie rankings. Let's go back to the homepage just so you can see these beautiful graphics. Trade calculator, best trade calculator in the business, in my opinion, and I don't think anybody can dispute that, to be honest. I don't think it's even disputable. If you want to try me. Devon Achane, you select a player like Puka Nacua. You can add in another player. You can add in, let's throw in Jeremiah Love. So let's take Achane out. Jeremiah Love versus Puka Nacua, and then let's throw in a receiver. Let's throw in Brock Bowers versus Rashee Rice. Hit analyze trade. It says you win by $2 by making this trade for redraft. If you were to do it in Dynasty, you come up with a totally different valuation. If you were to do it in Dynasty, it tells you that they would win. If you sent Jahmyr Gibbs over to their player side, they would win by $6. Gives you advice right here. You can go to, let's go back to the homepage real quickly. You can simulate a draft simulator. Select your options. Superflex Dynasty. If you do Dynasty, you can do keepers. Enter your keepers, or just remove players from the player pool altogether. And then run through a draft, or you can do a redraft. You can simulate any draft scenario. These are not the same picks every time. There's an equation and algorithm involved where the computer picks will be slightly different based on equations and algorithms per round. If we go back to the fantasyfootballshow.com homepage, the lineup analyzer is similar to the trade calculator, but it will give you all of the different projections that you want. Let's say we're to do Drake May and Josh Allen. Let's add another player, and let's add in Jada Daniels. Calculate for week 1, gives you all the projections, gives you PPR, half PPR, standard scoring. If you want to click the white button over here and view the weekly rankings for week 1, these are the rankings in cheat sheet format. You want to hide those rankings, go back to the analyzer. There it is. Player pages, everything you can think of. This is the one-stop shop. It's thefantasyfootballshow.com. Check it out. Do it live. You will not be sorry. Two ways to get it. Very simple pricing. $59 a season, or you can buy the $199 everything lifetime package, which will probably go up in price come June or July. So you might want to get that at that low price. Never pay for the content again, just for the $199 package. You get all that either way. You get all that for a football season, or you can get it lifetime just by clicking those buttons on the homepage. Travis, you're live. Then I'll go over to the other caller. If the other caller could stay muted, but Travis first, go ahead.
I don't mind him going to the Browns because he said he's willing to sit from a system. Monken is the guy who unlocked Lamar Jackson, so I don't think that's the worst.
Yeah,
And I also wonder, does Monken even care about it, Gabriel or something like that? I could see him get.
Yeah, I don't know. If you tried calling in, try again. I was showing the site, so I wasn't answering more phone calls when I was doing the debut of and showcasing of the fantasyfootballshow.com. But guys, go check it out, thefantasyfootballshow.com. Truly, I love to hear. I would love to hear you say, Smitty, that isn't. Email me after you look at it, after you use it, and tell me, Smitty, this isn't the best site I've ever. I dare you. Let me merge this call real quickly. I've been spending so much time. I've literally slept on average about 1 to 2 hours per night for the last 7 days, redeveloping the entire site, adding all those tools. I'm so proud of it. I'm as proud of that site right now than I am of anything else. Like, to be honest, so it's great. Travis, Kenneth Walker, like, what's your gut tell you percentage-wise? Like 50-50, 40-60, that he is literally, him and the Seahawks are on the same page. Like, let's not tag you because that ties money up. If you tag somebody and they sign it, they're on that contract, and that freezes, that 15 mil in this season on the books, versus if you sign a brand new deal, a lot of the money's up front, and then you're stretching the money out, and you're really only guaranteeing like about 18 million instead of the 14 million a year, probably 22 million, something like that. They'll get guaranteed. Typically with the wide receivers, they're guaranteed at least 2 years worth amount of their annual salary, like something in that ballpark. But what do you think do you think there's anything to this GM and Walker looking annoyed when they're chanting MVP, and Walker looked just like really annoyed by the GM, who's like, it's weird. Why is Walker asking me for a new deal already? And Walker wasn't like joking. He was like, I know he's all serious and all business, but it feels like Walker, there could be a little bit of unhappiness where he's at in Seattle, even though he just got NFL MVP and they just won a Super Bowl, but maybe he was not pleased with how he was used all year. And he feels like, even though I got lucky, Charbonnet got injured, like I do want to go get more work. Then again, him and Charbonnet are best friends. And would he even want to leave Charbonnet? I don't know. Like, what's your feel on this in terms of not these other teams, but right now, just what's your feel on Seattle specifically for Walker?
I mean, anytime you let a guy get the free agency, the percentage spikes a decent amount, because that it becomes a realistic thing, where before it was something you don't think about all that much because it's not a possibility if you're on the tax board.
Hold on, I'm gonna clear the other people on the phone line because they're talking. So you're gone, Michael. Was that you talking before I hang up on you?
Nah.
Okay.
Not me.
Keep muted, please. The other guy's gone. Go ahead, Travis. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. Yeah, just I think the percentage goes up a decent amount because it's now a reality, and you know, unless he's dead saying, why not take a meeting with another? Just
Yeah.
see what's out there. At the very least, teams are going to contact his agent and put offers out there, and you know, unless Seattle has the absolute pulse of the league, it's going to end up costing them more than it may have cost them to tag him and sign him.
And keep in mind, Tyreek Hill. Keep in mind, Tyreek Hill did not want to leave the Chiefs when he went to look. His agent literally said, "Go visit with other teams. We're going to establish your value, and then you're going to come back and play football for the Chiefs again. Don't worry." He didn't want to go at all. He didn't want to go. He didn't even want to go look. Didn't want to talk. He was completely happy, even though sometimes he'd run his mouth. And then it just ended up unfolding. And so let me merge this call one more time. Mute yourself real quick, and I'll put you back on. But please hit mute. So Hill is an example of that. They didn't leave with the intentions of leaving, but they ended up going elsewhere because the deal just ended up happening. But as far as, let's say he's gone, let's just pretend he's gone. We have that information for whatever reason. The Gray's Book Sports Almanac that we got from Back to the Future, and it tells us he did not play for the Seahawks in 2026. What team is he playing for, in your opinion? I'm gonna say KC right now, because KC has made the most waves about wanting a big time running back, and they even have said, we're not going Pacheco, we're not going that low. So I don't think it's doubtful. I don't think it's a rookie. It could be doubtful if they run out of options, but I think that the only player that makes sense would be like ETN or Walker. And I think that they were aggressive in their mind at first. Like, in hindsight, they weren't, to explore the Breece Hall trade before the trade deadline last year, but then they started pinching pennies and said, we don't want to give you a third rounder, we'll give you a fourth rounder. It didn't end up happening. They probably regret it. Now Mahomes tears his ACL. Now they need a running back to lean on. Now they're very verbal about, we're going to go get a big time running back. This is it. I mean, this is your opportunity. This seems like it's going to be obvious in hindsight. I do think the Saints have some appeal, but if you're Walker and you just want a Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP, I don't know that the Saints feel like they're ready. So you look at Denver and you say, yeah. You look at KC, you say, yeah. You look at the Commanders, and even though some people and talking heads and people everywhere are going to say no, players feel like the answer is yeah. Because you talk to anybody about who's the quarterback you would most like to play with, JD5 is almost the consensus. If you ask somebody to name 3 or 4 quarterbacks that you want to play with, JD5 is the one player that always comes up for everyone's top 4 or 5. Every time. So the players, regardless of what people think about the Commanders' chances, and I think the Commanders are sneaky this year, because people are going to judge them from last year and not remember how good they were the year before. But I think Walker's got a shot at going either, if they want him, Washington, third, or maybe even second. I'm sorry, third. Saints and Washington may be tied for third. KC 1, Denver 2 for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think KC makes the most sense, and maybe Washington, but I think a couple factors too is one, don't believe he's married and he doesn't have kids, so he's not tied down anywhere. He doesn't have pressure to stay in a city aside from his personal feelings. Two, like you said, I think wherever he goes, he wants to be the guy. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah,
He got
Denver's cloudy. Denver's cloudy for that.
he got right, and so he got a ring already. That pressure's, kind of off. I'm not saying he doesn't want to win, but at least, he has his ring. So that's, checked off in terms of goals. And so, and on top of it, wherever he goes is going to be a place that's either winning now or close to winning, building in the right direction. So he'll be able to pick a spot where he can be the guy.
Yeah.
Especially if he signs earlier than other guys. And as long as Breece is still on the
Yeah.
tag.
Yeah. Real real quickly, let me answer this. I got a super chat here from Max. Max, I'm sorry. I don't know how long that's been sitting there, and I think I have to restart my computer. I got some issues right now. I'm recognizing some of these super chats right now, but I figured out how to manually pull it up, so I'm sorry. HK from his Rumble rant. Appreciate you dropping the Rumble rant. If Harvey, standing ovation, if Harvey can learn more patience and run between the tackles instead of bouncing the outside, he'll be great, says HK. I think, yeah, Harvey's getting judged way too harshly. The guy was a monster last year. How many touchdowns did he have? It was like
10.
He had 10?
He had 5 and 5, right?
I mean, he just had such a good year, and people still rip on him. It's wild. Maximum, appreciate you. Dynasty, 12-team Superflex. Maximum, you still here? And BBQ dropping, let's see, New Age Outlaw not only dropped a super chat reminding, or a membership question reminding me about the Rumble rant. Thank you. BBQ dropped 10 gifted memberships. New Age Outlaw dropped 10 gifted memberships. Standing ovation for both of you.
Let him cook.
Thank you, gentlemen, both for that. And then Maximum, you still here? Maximum, Dynasty 12-team Superflex, PPR 0.5. Scat plus Bucky plus 27 second plus 28-1 for Love. Oh, that's a lot. Scataboo, Bucky, and a 28 first rounder and a second for Jeremiah Love. You're definitely overpaying. I mean, geez, bro. You'd have Love, Bucky, Hampton, Hendy, JJ Neighbors. That does feel a little bit like you can overpay because your team is so stacked. It's like an 8-man grandma league. So sometimes you can just throw the freaking kitchen sink at it and just be like, it's not going to hurt me.
You can get something else thrown in.
Or dial it back. I mean, Bucky and Scat alone, you could argue. I'm not saying you would get it, but damn, bro. Chat, what do you think? Too much? I mean, try and get something for sure. But chat, if let's say he already exhausted that and he has to say yes or no, the guy's going to pull the deal. Is anybody with his team, though? Keep in mind, it's an overpay by an insane amount. But keep in mind his team. Like, keep in mind that he's probably not going to have a high 28 first rounder anyway. So it's kind of like a late first rounder. Think of it like two 2.1s. Let's just pretend he has two 2.1 picks. He's given a 2.1, a 2.1, Bucky, and Scat. With his team, it's crazy because his team is better if he does the trade because he's got such a deep team. But I don't know. You do lose all of that, and then you're really thin. You got a good squad, but I'm gonna say it's too much. I think you're overpaying. I still like the idea of going after the trade, but I don't think I'm giving up that first rounder. I'd take Scatter the first rounder out. Give him another second. Give him 2 seconds, no first rounder, or give him a 2 seconds and the first and take Scat out or something like that. But you need to dial that back a little bit. That's a little bit of an overpay. And I think the chat is kind of agreeing with me, even though you've got surplus territory going on here. All right, Travis, hold on. Let me circle around the phone line real quickly because I got a full pack phone line. Bruce, hang tight real quickly. Let me go to the 813 caller real quick. Or no, let me go to Michael from San Diego, then the 813 caller. Michael from San Diego, you're live. As quickly as you can.
Yeah, what's going on, Smitty? Yeah, I'll be quick. I think Tyler to the Falcons, a spot for him to just kind of rebrand himself. I think him, Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts would just be a nice duo, and he would fit in there. And it would kind of remind me of I don't want to say a Walmart because Bijan's elite, but it was like a kind of a lesser version of Lamar and Henry in a way. He can open himself with Bijan. I don't know. I just think it'd be a pretty good pairing.
I think Atlanta and Minnesota, Kyler has a chance to be revitalized. And if people don't agree with that, then you're just like a Kyler hater. And I am a Kyler. I don't want to say Kyler hater, but I'm a Kyler doubter. But those are two scenarios where you put him with Bijan, Drake, London, not Kyle Pitts anymore. Bijan, Drake, London, and whatever they end up doing with the draft and the free agency, they certainly could bring in another player. And you just got a real nice shot at doing something, pretty solid. And then you go and you look at what, even though I'm worried about Stefanski, you look at what Tommy Reese, who's calling plays in Atlanta, did with Fannin, what he did with Shador. I think there's a lot of upside. But then you look over at the the Viking side of the fence, and again, as I explained in tremendous detail, I'm not going to beat a dead horse on it. I think this is the staff that could potentially in Minnesota turn Kyler around. This is the staff that could do it, and JJ's the wide receiver that could do it. And if they draft a running back to help support it, like Jonah Coleman, Kyler, JJ, Naylor, that's a pretty good combo. And you got obviously other players too, Addison. It's a good squad. Good squad. I wonder what happens with Naylor, if they're trading Naylor, if they're keeping Naylor, if they're doing something with Addison. I don't know. It seems like the wide receiver room is kind of almost volatile right now to be one person to be traded, but JJ's not going to be traded. They can't trade JJ right now. All right. Anything else, Michael?
Yeah. So real quick, I agree with you on Minnesota being a better. Do you, Evan O'Connell, would want to go in that direction?
I think.
Or do they want more of a? Okay. Yeah.
What are his options, bro?
I mean, I've been hearing Kirk Cousins, maybe. As bad as that is, because he's familiar with the system. But
my answer to you is in that context. Yes, it's worth it. If you told me you could get Malik Willis, I'd rather Malik Willis probably. If you told me you could get,
why is that? Why is that though?
Why is that not? Why is that not though? I mean, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Like, I can't convince you to like what you've seen on the field.
I don't see no. It's not Titans was. I mean, I'm a Titans fan. I've seen it. He's a development guy. I just feel like over Kyler Murray's.
Bro, he runs like 4. He's got a good arm. He's got to learn a lot still. He's raw. I mean, they're gonna have to sculpt him, but he runs like 40 yards a game. He's such an elusive, electric playmaker, and I like Willis a lot. I like him a lot.
Tyler is as well.
Well, but
we've seen Tyler do the same thing. DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray.
Kyler also doesn't like getting hit. Kyler also can't see over the offensive line. There's limitations, man. Kyler has got a lot of talent, but he's got to have the exact perfect coach, which it could be in Minnesota. But give me Malik Willis. The guy's just starting, scratching the surface, and looks every bit as good as Kyler, if not more promising. And he's younger, and you get to sculpt him, mold him into place. I mean, Malik Willis has a lot of intangibles that are really, really, really impressive. And when I see a guy like Malik Willis, my eye test, he passes the eye test, which some people don't like to go off of. But his passing ADOT was 8th in the league. His completion percentage was 2nd in the league. I don't know the sample size. He was also 1st in the league in yards per attempt. It's pretty good. And you know where I found that data? Over on thefantasyfootballshow.com. You pull up Malik Davis's player profile, which let me go over there and pull this up. So what you do is you just go to players. Very, very simple. Type in, actually we'll go to the search. Malik, there he is, Malik Willis. Boom. You can see this advanced metrics data right here. 8th in passing ADOT, yards per attempt, 1st in the NFL. 19th in rushing TDs, rushing yards, he was 29th. Completion percentage 2nd. He's just an impressive guy, bro. When you look at of his career, we have a very, very little to go off of, but when you extrapolate it out, I gotta work on the I gotta get his projections and everything into the system. All right, anything else, bro?
No, man, that's it. I don't want to hold anyone up, but I do think Tyler has more upside left. That's all.
All right, man.
But yeah.
Later. All right, who's this other caller here? 813. Thanks for waiting.
Hey, Smitty, I'm just so excited about Demont leaving Detroit and letting Gibbs just go off. I just can't believe it. Brad Holmes has kind of been tripping out on all our fans, but what do you think of that? I mean, the Knuckles is gone.
Well, I'm gonna do a video on it. Probably tonight's video will be the lead on that. I feel like it doesn't need to happen, but because everybody wants to talk about it so much, it's clearly a desired topic, and I deliver what my people want to deliver upon. But what you'll hear tonight in a nutshell, not to ruin all of it, but it's like this didn't really change anything, bro. I mean, everyone's getting excited about Monty, but everyone's getting excited about Monty leaving. But Gibbs is gonna get this amount of work right here. Okay, let's call it 75%, just throwing numbers out. This running back, it was Monty, and now it's going to be another player, still going to get roughly the same target or same share of work. Monty was fading away anyway. Like there is a world where this is worse for Gibbs. Not to say it's going to do anything negative. I'm just saying they bring in Jonah Coleman, and Jonah Coleman's far more likely to eventually get goal line touchdowns, just like the 1 yard line, the 3 yard line, nothing huge, than Monty might have taken away from Gibbs. So this doesn't really change anything. Like Gibbs is already, this is why we always for years have been like, what about Monty? What about Monty? Now, I will say that on the surface level, right now, with Monty being gone, of course, Gibbs looks like a 10 out of 10 instead of a 9.9 or 9.8 out of 10. Like, I mean, he's already looking that way to us. But for anybody to act like they're not going to bring somebody in now, bro, they're going to bring in a Pacheco, a Dowdle, a player that might look better than Monty. Like, they're not just going to leave it vacant. Everyone's like, there's nobody left. Oh, my God. Everyone has a backup. Everybody. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not as excited as everybody else because I'm already excited. I'm already at the finish line. I'm already on planet Jupiter with Gibbs right now. Everyone else is getting on a shuttle and going to Jupiter. We've already been there.
The thing is, Gibbs never gets touched hardly. He just flows. It's weird.
What?
He never gets hit hard, or he delivers the blow. And
It's getting weird.
This
conversation getting weird. Yeah.
Maybe he's perfect at the 240s to 240 to 260 carries. He got 252 years ago, 243 last year. I think that's perfect.
Tonight we'll talk about it. I'll talk about it in more detail. I don't want to ruin any more about it. All right, anything else, bro?
Awesome. Love it. Wait for you tonight. No, I'm going to show tonight.
All right.
I love the show. Love you.
All right, appreciate you, man. Later. The Bruce is loose. And then I'm going to go get tacos. I'll go to Travis, and then I'll get tacos. Go ahead. Hey, buddy boy.
I can see
Clearly now.
people using, like, we bring in AR5 as a, why not bring in Kyler like that?
Because he's too little. Kyler can't play the Taysom Hill role. I know you think about that because he's elusive and a good runner, but he get hurt. He's too small, bro. He can't even see over the offensive line. Kyler's not an AR5. AR5 can be Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill and AR5. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. But Kyler is not Einhorn. He's not even Finkel.
I mean, if possible,
Kyler's not Einhorn or Finkel. He's Ein. He's half of Einhorn. He's Ein. He's not a full size man.
but you know what? I'd like him in a Jet uniform too, to be honest with you.
I mean, do the Jets sound like somebody that can revitalize a career or just bury it further, bro? Bruce, I'm not trying to argue with everything you're saying tonight. I just like the Jets. He does. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Traded from like a bad.
He probably will be a Jet.
Like, I know his career would probably would be the end of him, but at the same time, I think in a sense, and this is just my opinion, he might be better than what they have for Paul and for Wilson.
Yeah. I don't know, Bruce. I'm not. I just don't think we're there. You know, I don't think we're at a point where the Jets are revitalizing anybody. I think the Jets, you're gonna watch people go and implode in New York. New York's just not in a position to revitalize anybody. And it's continuous, though. You know, like Aaron Rodgers looked pretty good in Pittsburgh. He goes over to New York and he falls apart. Garrett Wilson's drowning over in New York. So I just don't see it. I think New York is. I mean, I can see it. I agree with Travis. I think New York seems like one of the most likely landing spots. That's why I've got it in the graphic. You know, it's in the thumbnail of the video. Jets, Vikings, Falcons, Cardinals are going to say goodbye to Kyler, and that's where he's probably going. One of those spots. The Jets are one of them for sure. That's why they're in the graphic. I agree. Well, I will say this, guys. I'm pretty excited about Walker. I think what's going to be really interesting about the Walker situation is that if Walker does end up going elsewhere, and I was going to ask you guys this before we jump out of here, where does Seattle jump on this board? Let's say Walker goes to KC. Does Seattle jump to one of the top spots here, or are they 4 or 3? Let's say Walker goes to KC. Is it still New Orleans for Jeremiah Love? Is it still, or ETN if whatever happened there? Washington, Minnesota, and then Seattle? Or is Seattle leapfrogging one of these landing spots? I'm just curious what you guys' feel of, because this is not a landing spot we've been talking about at all as a potential running back landing spot, because Seattle's been very much, we thought, franchise tagging, working out a long-term deal. But if we end up getting potentially a open running back spot, or they just go in Charbonnet and saying, look, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
I think they'll do that. I think they're going to do that.
I think they'll go.
That's why I wouldn't leapfrog them. That's the only reason why, because we don't know for sure. And I think there's a good chance I think they'll draft somebody.
Yeah, they might
bring in like a cheap veteran, hold it over. They have some great. They just won the Super Bowl, so they could go that route.
Hey, Travis, my 999 silver chain came in from Miami Lynx. I got it right here, and it's too big to. I mean, I like it because of the weight of it, like the melt value of it, and it's a beautiful chain. I just don't know if I could wear this every day as an everyday wear because it's monstrous. Hold on.
Oh yeah, you wear that every day. Yeah.
I can't. I can't. It's too big. It's way too big. I can't. Yo! I see Bruce. Yo, Bruce! Where you been? But I love it. If I would have got it for you, is it really for you? Are you joking?
No.
You wear it. See, I could wear this size. I could wear it as a 20. I love the chain. I love the smaller one more, but I'm gonna pull it off like that because I don't have time to try and clip that while I'm live. But I like the size of this one. That's an everyday wear for me. But I will tell you that this chain is unbelievable. So if anybody wants a 999 pure silver chain from Miami Lynx, this bad boy is where it's at. Beautiful chain. Use code. What's the code? Let me go to the end screen here where I have it. It's code. Hold on, that's not it. So Miami Lynx, you can see it at MiamiLynx.com. Go check out MiamiLynx.com and use code Smitty10. Is it? Let me see. Smitty10 will get you 10% off. And this is a pure silver 999 chain. So like when he asked me like what size do you want, I'm like as big as you'll go because I wanted this. I wanted the silver weight because I knew I would wear this one. This one I is an everyday wear for me. But this one I could not. What?
I used to have a chain just like that, actually.
Yeah, it's a nice chain though. Like I do kind of wish I would have got a 20 or a 22, just because I think I would have wore that every day. But I'm glad. I like this one a lot, so I'm fine. But guys, go get your Miami Lynx chain. It takes the first time getting one to know your size. Like you really should measure it out. You really should measure out make sure you don't buy the chain before if you've never worn one or haven't got a Cuban link before. But anyway, Bruce, anything else?
Final thought for me is that if Walker does leave, I put Seattle down towards like the 3 area for me, personally, because I think they're just gonna ride Charbonnet and maybe sign like a vet, like Travis said, and maybe draft a rookie.
Travis, you really maybe Travis will wear. I guess layering it or whatever. If I was to take this away, but Travis will wear this. You wear this big one every day.
I would, yeah. I have a gold chain.
I just never have. It's huge to me. I love it though.
I've always had a chain.
This is an 8mm. It's 8mm, pure silver, $9.99. And again, I was like, give me the biggest one you can send me. But I also got this one too, so that's why I did that. I don't think I would have asked him for the biggest one if I was only getting one. I would have wanted one to fit, But that's
a different preference too, though.
Yeah.
How they want to wear it, how much they want it to be seen. Do they just want it to be like an accent, or do you want to mix out?
Yeah. But go get a Miami Cuban, guys. Pure silver. This is probably, I forget how many grams this is, but silver is about $90 an ounce right now, and I think there's 31 grams in an ounce, and I'm pretty sure this is about, I don't know how many grams this is. Maybe this is like 2.5, 3. So this could be like $200-$300 worth of silver. That's why I was like, just give me the biggest one you got. We got one that's going to hang down to your knees. That's fine. Send it on over. But I love this one. This one's about probably 1 ounce of silver, I would say. All right, boys, we'll be back at midnight Eastern. I think Bruce actually already hung up. Travis, anything else real quickly to close it out between Kyler or Walker or any other piece of news we went over real quickly before we head out, and then I'll be out of here?
Just the 2 quick things. One, really seems like Miami is Jimmy G's an option. In that sense, I hope they trade Achane, but I don't know. I'm more worried by the day that he's going to be that really bad situation, at least this year. And then if the Colts don't keep Daniel Jones, what do you think? They just end up with this other group of teams that are going after a Kyler to whoever, that whole group of guys?
Yeah, hard to say. Called in and he treats. What are you saying, bro? Tried to connect to this show. Probably donated $300, and Smitty just dogs you if you don't agree. Called in, treats you like fiat. Did you call? Did somebody just call in and I treated them like trash? I don't. Was that you? One of you? What is he talking about? What are you talking about, bro? Strong. I always pump you up. I don't know what you're talking about. I always say, Sam to the moon, strong. I'm on
Bluetooth, my bad.
What?
You the one that called in and was talking in the background?
No, because that was the guy who called in and said, I love you. He called back in. He's like, I love you, Smitty. And so that was him. He called back. So that wasn't, I don't know what Strong's talking about. And whenever Strong super chatted, I've been like, Strong, you're the man. Like, done standing ovations. Like, when have I ever ripped on Strong? And Strong, if you ever called in and I did rip on you or something, I didn't know it was you, number one. Not that it will buy you too much of leeway if you say something like ridiculously like wild. But like, what did I say that pissed you off so bad? Like, I don't think I've ripped on anybody on the phone line recently. I hung up on that guy because he started talking. And then he called right back and said he loved me. So I don't know what example. What do you mean said it on Bluetooth? What was that part? What are you talking about?
He said I'm on Bluetooth, my bad, Smitty. Or he said I tried to connect to the show, blah, blah, blah. So it made it sound like and then he said earlier, tried calling, it won't go through.
I don't know. Strong, you can call in real quick. I mean, I don't know what you're bent out of shape for.
He didn't call tonight, right? Like,
maybe that was the caller, and I'm mixing up. The number was really close. I thought the guy that I hung up on because he was talking called back in, but if not, it's Strong. If you're mad because you were talking while someone else was talking and I hung up on you, like it's not that big of a deal, man. I don't understand. But Strong, do what you got to do. I've done nothing but praise your name when you come in with super chats and any comments you've ever made. I don't think I've ever read. Have I ever read one of your comments and ripped you apart or said and dogged you whenever you've left a comment? I don't think so. So I don't know where you're coming from on that, my boy. Did he say someone says he's been sipping on Grandpa's cough medicine? I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't know. I can't deal with that. All I can say is I don't remember any of this. All right, Travis. Strong, the phone line's open for you. Call in. Let's work it out right now. Little therapy sesh right in front of everybody. Call in. I'm here. I'm not going to run from this. I don't run from nothing. I'll go somewhere else, my boy. What am I saying wrong? Like what are you talking about? I don't know. Does anybody know what I did? Does anybody? I mean, I've literally been telling him that whenever he super chats, I praise his name. I haven't said a negative thing about him. I still haven't said a negative thing about him. And the phone line's open. Call in. Work it out. All right, Travis, I'll see you later. I'm going to go get tacos.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. See you at midnight later. And tonight, guys, we'll be talking about what did I say we're going to talk about tonight? I'm blanking. He was the Gibbs caller. I thought he was, because I could have swore the caller that I said, bro, you're talking in the background, and I hung up on him. I could have swore he called back in. So I don't even know what Strong's talking about. If that was Strong, I don't know. Would you like me to wait for you to call in, Strong, and we can talk about this man to man? Because I don't even know what you're talking about. I'll wait for 1 minute to see if you want to call in. And the phone, you say you've been dialing the phone line. I don't see the phone line ringing, so I don't even know. I feel like I feel like we're on two different wavelengths right now. I feel like you're in a different Spider-Verse, and you're dialing other Smitty, and other Smitty's being mean to you when I've done nothing but when I see your comments or when you super chatted, giving you standing ovation. Standing ovation. I mean, I literally remember. So I don't really know. I don't even know where this is coming from. But someone says this about me every other day. So like, I don't know what to do about it. I just move on. Like, I hope that you don't want to move on. If you want to move on, that's your choice too. I want you to be happy. If you're really that unhappy here, I've never said a bad word about you. Like, I don't understand. Unless you called it and I had no idea it was you one time, and I ripped apart a take that you had, and maybe you came at me. And I argue with you. I have no idea. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm waiting for the phone call. The phone line's not ringing. Nothing. I got it up. I'm waiting. I could have swore the guy I hung up on. Yes, I'm right on this. The guy I hung up on called back. And at the end of the call, he said he loved me. So if that's Strong, was that you? I don't know. I guess he doesn't want to call. Strong, I wish you luck. I never said a mean thing about you, but do what you got to do. Appreciate you anyway. I'll be live at midnight Eastern. What was the topic we were going to talk about at midnight? And I said I didn't want to ruin it. I'm already forgetting what I was going to say. What the topic was going to be. Somebody remind me real quick, so I can make sure I'm prepared for the show tonight. That way, If Strong wants to come back, we'll have a good show for him. I don't know, man. This is Monty Gibbs. Yes, Gibbs. Thank you. I'll write that down on the board here. Gibbs and Monty. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, everybody that reminded me. Thank you, everybody over on Rumble. Appreciate every single one of you. Rumble link is in the description of the video. We're at 5.35K on Rumble. At 10,000 followers, we kick off the Rumble show, which will start off as 1 day a week, and then we'll see what we can do from there. Thank you, Vader. Vader's going to rewind. Well, we lost somebody today, everyone. 4 went out for Strong. I don't know why he quit the show, but he says he's going to go somewhere else. I had no idea what I did to him. See you all later. Strong, the door is open. The light is on. If you want to come back home, buddy boy, we'll be here for you. I don't hold grudges. Look, people will do stuff like I'll hang up on them because they're something, and then the next day they call back. I've no ties to a previous conversation really at all, and I got pretty thick skin and I'm pretty forgiving, and I honestly don't I don't even know what we're talking about here. I still have no clue what I said to you, what made you mad, but the door's open for you, pal, because that's who I am. Because I really don't care about any of that. I don't even care if you said, Smitty, you're a jerk, I'm leaving, and then the next day you show up and go, Smitty, I love you, pal. And I'm like, I love you. Denny tells me all the time. Denny calls the phone line when he thinks the show is live. And then when I don't answer because the show's not live, I'm asleep. And he doesn't ever watch the show. He's watching a replay of the show and he thinks we're live. And then he bad talks me in the comments like, Smitty, blah, 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 blah. But I have to let it go. Because he's Baba Booey. He's my Baba Booey. He's my Beetlejuice. All right, I'll see you all tonight. No idea what I did. No idea what I did. Miss Smitty, do you know what I did? What'd I do? What'd I do now?